Hello and welcome to a brand new series, a series that begins in the heart of the earth, where fortresses are carved and legends are forged. I'm Difuryus, your trusty guide in the world of Dwarf Fortress. As we embark on this expedition, I must confess, I'm no seasoned Dwarf Fortress and barely managed a few forts that went to ruin in a couple of years. Only have a few hours played, but that's precisely the essence of this series, to learn and conquer Dwarf Fortress with your help. We'll dive into the game mechanics, exploring its rich lore and charting stories of our brave dwarves. I'll fumble through the fortress early days, make mistakes, and rely on your help and suggestions to guide the fort towards prosperity. So, without further ado, let's begin. As we embark on this dwarven adventure with our stalwart dwarves, my focus naturally turns to the age-old tradition of digging deep into the mountain's heart. However, this time I have a vision in mind. We begin by digging tunnels, not only for resources, but also as a lifeline. A bridge will be built here to buy us time to prepare for threats or wait them out if we can't face them. To hurry up the settling process, I assign an additional dwarf as a miner and put both miners to work with top priority. Meanwhile, our fellow dwarves swiftly move their belongings closer to the entrance, optimizing our workflow and preventing any idleness. Our next goals come into play, securing a fisher and a carpenter. With a nearby river, it becomes our initial food source, and we need wood for crafting beds, something our weary dwarves desperately require after their long journey. While I enjoy optimizing aspects of the games I play, I also am not a big fan of min-maxing. So in planning the bedrooms, I opt for a practical design that also reflects my interpretation of how dwarves would style their rooms. A central chamber acts as a hub, making it easy to move throughout our underground stronghold, surrounded by corridors leading to dormitories. Drawing from past experience, we stick to the tradition of assigning one dwarf to one workshop, allowing them to become experts in their respective crafts and create high-quality items. This is a wise choice, as instead of ending up with a bunch of mediocre carpenters, you will have an expert that is renowned for his craft. Now, with the minimum requirements for a bedroom set to be built by our aspiring carpenter, we order the miners to create our initial storing space, and I say initial as later we will have multiple specialized stockpiles depending on the workshop nearby to reduce the time spent fetching resources. At first, we enable everything to be placed here, with the exception of stones of any kind, as there are a lot of laying around when you mine into a mountain, and they would just take up space that we could use for other objects. In anticipation of our future tavern, we set up a still and a stonemason's workshop. We use the stone for crafting bedroom cabinets and stone doors to conserve precious woods that we will use for beds, bins, and barrels. In time, this workshop will also create exquisite statues to attract travelers to our tavern and serve as solemn altars for our temples. Each workshop is manned by a single dwarf, allowing them to excel in their craft and improve their experience. So at one point, I noticed I had mined too much for one of the bedrooms, and I didn't want one dwarf to have a bigger bedroom than the rest of them, or make all the existing and future bedrooms 3 by 3. So I decided to improvise and set it out as an office for our future manager, and we'll go on with the theme of having offices in the sleeping area. After all, what other place would be better to focus on your work than the place where people try to be silent? We also need to set a pen/grazing area for our animals, which we promptly set just outside our entrance and set all the grass-eating animals to be led to it. Otherwise, they would just starve. In the future, we also need to wall off this area so we prevent livestock thievery, or worse. With our tavern and temple complete, we notice our first visitor, hopefully one of many. Soon after, we get our first brave migrants, who risk the journey for a new life in our newly established outpost. The group consists of 3 dwarves of different professions and 2 children that we welcome with open arms. We start working on their bedrooms by mining out new rooms and setting our carpenter to build new furniture. Whilst doing some interior decorating, we get our first petition and we gladly accept it, as our fort is in need of new entertainers to attract new people. Then the dwarven caravan arrives to our fort without a trade depot, as in the first year I'm not really interested in trading, but we request instruments as they're quite tricky to craft, but are greatly appreciated in a tavern or in a temple. We also request some bovines and egg-laying animals, and last but not least, some mid-tier weapon and armor, while we try to forge steel equipment ourselves straight away. How are we going to pay for all of these? Well, luckily the old strategy works, and we mine and cut a bunch of gems, and we craft something out of them maybe. And luckily they ask for a really easy to procure resource. Hopefully they'll pay enough for it, which is fish. So next time they come around, we just have to make sure the dwarves don't eat all the fish before we get to sell it. After a quiet year with no migrant arrivals and only housekeeping to do around, I decided to set up my smelting room as the caravan is taking its time to arrive. To start, we have a wood furnace to create the charcoal we need so we can start creating coal at the smelter, an important fuel for our metalworking process. After that, the process is as follows. Smelt an iron containing ore, like magnetite. Use the iron that resulted together with flux-stones, such as chalk, which we have plenty laying around. Add the fuel to produce pig iron. And now that we have pig iron, we just use everything that we used before. So this time, instead of the ore, we use the pig iron, we use even more flux-stone, and we use even more fuel, and then we finally create the famous dwarven steel. And with that, we conclude our first year. Year and a half. Because I wanted to finish it after we've done all the trading at the depot and everything. It was a bit disappointing, especially with the armor. So it's good that we already started on the project of making our own armor, because they had like 5 pieces of armor, which were all of iron. And yeah, I requested weapons for next year. But anyway, the fortress is in a good place. We've got a bunch of instruments that is gonna make the tavern even more attractive, and the temple, and it's gonna attract more dwarves, hopefully specialized ones, hopefully ones skilled in the art of war, especially commanders. As you can see, some instrument here. The bedrooms are looking nice, might smooth everything. Hopefully it helps. Now all this chalk that's laying around and coal, it's getting put to good use in our forages. So we have a bunch of coke here, which stays here because it's not stored right. So I have to figure out what I'm doing. I think I just need more bins, honestly. Yeah, I'll just make a billion bins. Iron bars, which become pig iron bars, and I think we still have some steel. Although I sold some, but some of it because no, we don't have. Do we? Oh, we do. I sold some because apparently the gems that I had weren't valuable enough to get us all the, or at least a part of the instruments that we had. I should have requested instruments for next year too, because obviously I didn't buy all the ones that I wanted now. I can't, because the thing with the trading. Anyway, yeah, it's decent. Maybe we'll make our own instruments and we'll be self-sufficient. So the next step for the next episode is build this bridge so external threats aren't that threatening, build the wall around the pasture, and make use of the animals that we have, like shear the animals to build to create like clothing and all that. And then dig deeper and expose the cavern systems where there's more ore and more crystals and also more challenges. But I'm not gonna do that until I get a set of steel armor for everyone. And it's not like, I don't think 10... we have already an armored dwarf. This guy, if you remember, just volunteered to petition to join our fort. But anyway, might if it takes too much time, or resources might do some combination of iron and steel, but we'll see. I do want to get into the caverns, but also I don't want to have a bad people invasion or troglodyte invasion and people not be ready. Also, we need to do the hospital because we don't have one right now, so that's that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this new type of video that I did, and I surely enjoyed doing it. And if you liked it, share, subscribe, comment, and let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.